Yo, it's your guy Bendu Ren.
And your boy SM Young.
All right, there we have it. We have a name.
Yeah.
And this is the Filmatic Podcast, the illest film review and pod reviewer nerd shit this side of the galaxy. And today, we talking that fucking Mandalorian, yo.
Yeah, that was actually a really, really good first 3 episodes so far.
Very amazing first 3 episodes. What caught your eye about it, though?
What caught my eye was the kind of I don't know. I think it's the more of the fact that we don't know too much about the Mandalorian. Now we do know about a little bit of his past and going towards like the Clone Wars.
I was just about to say Clone Wars.
Yeah. But like him not taking off his helmet, we've never seen his face, unless you know who the actor is. But, we don't know his real name.
We really don't. I forgot that. They didn't even mention this motherfucker's name yet.
Everybody calls him the Mando,
Yeah, I like it a lot. Like, I definitely, I want to take the time out to rewatch the episodes again and see because I don't want it to be, I like this because the movies have been not so great up to this point.
Yeah.
So, but definitely what first caught my eye was the cinematography, definitely.
Oh yeah, just the feeling of like that Western,
Yeah.
Oh man, even the score in the beginning,
It's amazing.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Like, a lot of the things within the show were amazing, but I'm going to just give my hang-ups on the show right now. Dave Filoni's episode. I'm going right to Dave Filoni. I like what he was doing with the episodes and everything. It's just that sometimes the elements, because he's so used to doing animation, like I felt like he tried to bring a lot of those sensibilities over, and it just didn't work. Like, I didn't like the first bounty that he went after. That I felt that character was just so fucking annoying. Like,
yeah.
And it felt like cartoonish and kiddie.
Well, that's what it is, and also it felt like it was short-lived. Like they were trying to build up to something, and then all of a sudden he gets carbonate froze.
Yeah, this like the first episode definitely felt like a pilot, so I excuse that.
Yeah.
And everything. I know a lot of people, like, reviews I was watching and things like that, they were talking about that, like, it felt short. It didn't feel short to me. Didn't feel long. It didn't feel short. It felt just right for a pilot.
I feel like with the cuts, where they cut to another scene and then, it's a transition. The transitions made it actually, for me, feel longer than it, than it should have. I watched Titans, and Titans are an hour-long episodes, And coming from watching Titans go straight to that, I actually felt like Mandalorian was longer, and I actually had to check the time on it. But,
And it's like they put so much Star Wars shit in this, you feel me?
Oh, yeah.
Where the movies are like, I wouldn't even say they're scared to. It's like they just don't give a fuck to. Like, it seems like they don't care about the fans.
Yeah.
And it's like this show definitely, like, catered to the fans, but not to the point where people that aren't huge Star Wars fans like us wouldn't fuck with it. You feel me?
Exactly.
It would just go over their heads, but it wouldn't be like, oh, okay, well, I didn't watch this episode of Clone Wars, so I don't know. No, that never happened in the show.
Yeah, no. Well, and they don't too much touch base on, like, here we go into spoiler territory, so,
Oh yeah, we're doing fucking spoilers right now. I make sure to put it in the title. If you haven't seen the episodes, don't fucking listen to this. Or if you just don't give a fuck about spoilers, listen to it. But like, comment, subscribe. But go ahead, Sam.
All right, so
Shameless plug.
What I was pointing out to you, with the guy who's working for the Empire with the glasses, I forget what his name is.
Are you talking about the bitch ass nigga, right?
Yeah, the one that was hiding in the corner after,
It's like, don't shoot me. I was like, you're a fucking bitch.
Well, I pointed out, hey, he's wearing the clone cadet on Camino, when they were wearing the patch, and I was like, ooh, that's a nod to that. So, I'm kind of thinking that, not many people know about that, so they don't know what the Empire is doing with this Yoda creature, and if they're, going to expand upon that, we don't know.
Yeah, because that's my question. Like, the question I kept asking Sam when we were watching it was, so, like, all right, this isn't during the Empire era, like the Rebels era, when they were kidnapping Force-sensitive children, like basically to induct them to be Inquisitors. This isn't that time. So what are they doing? And that's when you offered your theory, which is...
which is that basically maybe they're test trying out. What was my theory again?
So his theory was that They're basically, so we know that cloning is possible, period. We
Yeah.
know that that's possible. But what we don't know is if cloning a Force user and also being able for that clone to mimic the Force user's abilities.
And leading up into the Rise of Skywalker,
Which is why we might have a dark side Rey.
Yeah.
But knowing them, it's just going to be a stupid ass vision, and then it's going to go away, and then she's going to wake up and female empowerment and yada yada.
Well, that's what it is, with as we're going into a discussion here on the Rise of Skywalker now. I personally would like a dark side Rey going against a Kylo Ren.
I've been asking. Rey. She's a shit character. I'm sorry. I just have to say it. Like, I'm about to go on a mini rant here, Sam, so I'm sorry. But, like, how the fuck do you introduce Rey in The Force Awakens? Okay, cool. She beat Kylo Ren. This dude is literally known as the Jedi Hunter. What is he? The Jedi. Basically, he's known for killing fucking Jedi, okay?
Yeah.
And you're telling me that a chick who's lived on a sand planet her whole life, shut the fuck up, Google, Siri, whatever the fuck you are. No type of training at all. You're telling me that she's able to just best Kylo Ren. Okay, fine. I was like, you know what? When everybody was like, man, she's a Mary, so I was like, no, let's wait and see the second movie.
Yeah, yeah.
Then you bring in Last Jedi, and she's just continuing on down this path of no explanation of why she's able to do this.
And that's where I feel like with The Mandalorian, it's a story that, I feel like that's what they're trying to reach for, is a story of a nobody, becoming a somebody. I feel like The Mandalorian might become somebody, with the way that this is playing out. He has a creature with him that's Force sensitive. We don't know what's going to happen after that. We don't know that space in between.
A theory just popped in my head too.
Well, what's that? Let's hear it.
So, Sam, prepare your ears.
Okay.
At the end of Last Jedi,
yeah,
when, rest in peace to Carrie Fisher, when Leia was telling Poe that, I have a connect, basically somebody I can call to come help us. That was the Mandalorian.
That would have been cool. That would be cool. Now, one thing that I'm going to guess here is that maybe they are a duo. A bounty hunter type Jedi that's a Yoda creature with the Mandalorian.
That would be dope.
That would be dope.
We've never seen that before.
Because we like there's so much stuff that
they've done it, but we haven't seen it.
Yes, we have not seen that. Like in Legends, we see that all the time. Like, well, not all the time. We've seen many Jedi go from being a Jedi Knight to, hey, I'm gonna leave that life and become a bartender or something.
Like we kind of got it. We kind of got it with Kanan.
Yeah.
And Rebels, but like.
Did you know Kanan had 32 jobs according to the internet? He was a bartender. He was a bounty hunter or something like that, or like a job. I don't know. He went to Job Corps apparently.
He went to Job Corps. Jack of many trades, man. That's that dude Kanan, man. But it's like, I feel like the films are just afraid to like dive into the nerdiness that is Star Wars, where it's like literally like your sister company Marvel, dog, they literally just put fucking they had Howard the fucking Duck in Avengers Endgame.
Yes. And
nobody gave a fuck. And they were like, this is fucking cool.
Yeah.
And it's like, why can't y'all do that shit? Like, the more nerdy you go, the better, because it's going to make people say, oh my God, what is that? And you know what they're going to do? They're going to Google your shit, which is going to lead them to watch your shit more.
Yes.
Stop being afraid to dive into your source material, and we're kind of going to switch gears again. We're going to get back to The Mandalorian, but we're just having a whole Star Wars talk right now.
Yes.
Switching gears to, speaking of source material, the fact that the head of Lucasfilm is saying they have no source material to pull from leads me to say she should not be the head of Lucasfilm.
Yes. All in all, that was a very, very dumb statement on her part, because first off, that just shows that you're not believing in your writers. And then second off it just shows that, that you don't believe in the expanded universe, of what came before. That stuff. She's
probably under and it's like not even just a lot of people are trying to make it out for her to be an anti-Star Wars thing, that she doesn't know Star Wars and she's like anti-Star Wars.
She worked for Lucasfilm.
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying. That's why I think it's that George Lucas thinking, because George Lucas doesn't like the expanded material.
Oh yeah.
So I think that's where she's coming from
but
too.
at the same time, is you got Dave Filoni, who's worked with George many times, and yet he pulled from the expanded universe. So why can't Kathleen Kennedy?
Because Kathleen Kennedy wants to focus on certain agendas that she's trying to push, and we're not going to go into that here.
Yeah,
like,
all
but
right.
just like make good characters, and we'll like them. Like Finn started out as a great character. Like even in Last Jedi, there were some dope aspects about his character, but then you just completely botch it to follow on with whatever.
What?
Oh, sorry.
Yeah.
With whatever, thing you wanted to do. And it's like, just make dope characters. Like, go ahead. What were you about to say? I'm sorry.
Well, no, yeah, I understand where you're coming from. Yeah, it's the simple fact is that you have the potential to create awesome characters, but you're holding your characters back, or you're giving them too much power to feel like, where's the rise in that? Like, you're calling it the Rise of Skywalker, the next movie, where like
I can tell you exactly why it's called The Rise of Skywalker.
Because Kylo.
No.
No.
It's going to be called The Rise of Skywalker because they're going to kill off Kylo Ren, and Rey's going to adopt the name Skywalker. That's what's going to happen.
Yeah, or
and she's going to be your Skywalker going
or
forward.
they're just gonna ditch the name Jedi, for everybody, and they're just gonna be called Skywalkers now.
Yeah.
I don't know.
And it's
just
it makes me so unexcited for the movie.
Yeah, it's hard to think about, definitely, because I feel like they're like throwing these Hail Marys all the way in the end zone, and your receiver is like, ooh, I'm gonna catch this, and then he starts fumbling the ball.
He goes full fucking Aguilar for you Eagles fans out there. It's been a rough season for us, but But
shout out to that rough season.
Yeah, but it's like, yo, like Kathleen, like baby, I love you. You're a great film producer. I know you can do this.
Oh yeah,
you've done it before. Make Star Wars great again. Okay? That's all you have to do. Like dive in. Don't be afraid to dive into that Star Wars mythology, because that's what people like. Every Star Wars fan doesn't like the same shit. Like,
yeah, we like a mixture of stuff. Like, that's why, after a while, when I started like playing like the Knights of the Old Republic, I was like, dude, they have like a Death Star in this almost.
They literally, with the Old Republic, they have a Game of Thrones like show.
Yeah.
Sitting right there waiting to be made.
Yep.
And I don't think Benioff and Weiss was going to do that. I think they were going to do something that takes place thousands of years ago, but from what the stories were saying, it was going to be about the origins of the Jedi and the Sith and things like that. So I don't think that was going to be like the Old Republic as like, those of us that know it.
Yeah, like the original starting out with swords and stuff like that, because that's what they started out with.
With swords.
Sith were the first ones to come out with the.
Well, the Sith outdate the Jedi. So it was at this moment that Sam and I knew we were having technical difficulties, so just excuse the little jump here and enjoy the video. Bye. So yeah, like the Sith, they completely like outdate the Jedi and everything. You feel me?
Yeah. Just like the Mandalorians.
Very true.
And it's awesome because I hope they touch base on this in the Mandalorian, is how basically there was a species before the Mandalorians that were pushed out of Coruscant. A lot of Mandalorians are actually,
Coruscant natives.
Yes.
I didn't even know that shit.
And,
damn.
The protectors of Mandalore were actually a different species of, like, from a humanoid, and it's just awesome. If they could expand on that in the Mandalorian, which I don't think they will because of the time period that they're stretching on.
Yeah.
But if they do, like, that'd be pretty cool.
I mean, we didn't expect Rebels to fucking do time travel in Star Wars.
Dude. Just that scene, dude. And just him going into that area and you hear everybody's voice of,
Kylo, Rey.
Yeah, Alec Guinness and all of that. And I was just like, dude, this is just awesome,
And that's what, to me, like, Rebels was the first thing in a long time that felt like classic Star Wars. Like Like the Force Awakens had those scenes, like when the Force in the Force Awakens, when the Falcon rises up, and it's like, or not even when it rises up, when they run to the one ship, oh, we need to get that, and then it blows up. They're like, okay, we'll go get this one, and then it's like, da-da-da, da-da-da, and then it shows up. I was like, yes, yes,
yes,
dog, and then it's like, dog, that's like make me feel like a fucking kid again, man. Like. There's nothing wrong with doing that with adults, contrary to what Bill Maher says.
Out of all the episodes of Mandalorian, what do you think is your favorite? The first episode,
the last one,
the second one, the
last
third
one,
oh,
the third one. That's my favorite one.
What drew you towards that episode?
It literally felt like Unforgiven. Like you know how I told you I just like rewatched that film again.
Yeah.
The Clint Eastwood film that he directed in '92. But it felt that to me felt the most like a Western. Like. Just when the whole conflicted hero element, like this is a guy that up to this point we saw him, he's willing to do anything to get a buck, but it's not just he's a piece of shit, he's doing it for his people. But at the same time, it's like he felt that connection because of the Force. Yeah,
well, also at the same time, I think another thing that was running in his head is basically, hey, my people don't like the people that I'm working with. Even if I turn my back on them, I wouldn't be shunned out of, the Mandalorians keep right there.
Yeah, I'll be shunned from the guild, I won't be shunned from
that's something that's, worth losing. You could go get bounties from any other place in the world. You go to Tatooine, you can go anywhere else, go get a bounty over there, go get a bounty over there.
The funny part was, though, I literally kept turning to you, because you already know who my favorite character in the show is right now.
Oh, yeah.
Fucking Carl Weathers' character, man.
Oh, yeah.
Apollo fucking Creed, man. And they're just like, I'm like, don't kill him. And then he shoots him. I'm like, you motherfuckers. And then, like, Sam was just looking at me the whole time, like, yeah, he's dead. And then, like, literally he wakes up. He pulled the medal from him. I'm like, oh, they did that. They okay. Yeah, as long as he's alive.
Well, that's what I don't understand is why would the guild members be kind of getting Beskar from the guild if, they're all looking to get paid. Like, remember back on when episode 1 in Tatooine, when Watto wouldn't take the Republic credits because they weren't worth there. What's the point of another bounty hunter, getting Beskar? I understand that you can make armor out of it, but what is Mandalorian armor, worth to you? Because it's not like you can go to a Mandalorian forge and go get that forged into a piece of armor for you, because they're supposed to be, the best people to be working with this Beskar armor.
So you know what my answer to that is?
What's that?
My answer to that is the answer to it is a dope show waiting to be made.
Yeah.
You want to know why I say that? What's going on in the galaxy right now? Well, not right now, at that point.
Well, the New Republic's being made.
Right now, there's no currency in the galaxy because the Empire's gone.
Yeah. And a lot of currency was working off of the Empire.
So that to me is a very interesting Star Wars show waiting to be made, like a Wolf
of Wall Street.
Yeah, like a Wolf of Wall Street type of character. Like just have like a Greedo type alien sniffing coke off of fucking prostitutes' asses and shit. But like that's a dope. That's something. Not even a film. I would do like a show, but that's something that's dope because it's like this is like basically a political upheaval. Like the Empire is gone. Like they left a vacuum within the But go ahead.
That's why I feel like this is the best time to bring in the political. Not like our world political. I'm talking about like in the Star Wars political. Find out what's going on. Find out what Mon Mothma and her, people and what they gathered together as a cabinet kind of ordeal, and see where they're going with this. Because
imagine if the United States became evil, completely evil, and then like another faction came about to try and stop that evil and basically beat the evil, the evil side. What happens after that? Like, what do you do?
Yeah. Like the U.S. dollar bill is obviously not going to be the same.
Yeah, it's not going to be worth shit at this point. And then it's like you got planets that were literally forced to be under, the Empire's reign. Yes. They're just going to go back to their shit. Yeah. Why do I want to be a part of you? It kind of can take you back to a playing field like Clone Wars, honestly. Yeah. I mean, we still don't really know what happened between that 30-year gap between Return of the Jedi and Force Awakens. They're painting that right now with the Mandalorian.
Yes.
But it's like that. It's a lot of dope shit that can happen between that. I mean, you got, for me, like you already know, I'm more into the Jedi stuff. I'm more into the Force stuff. Like I love seeing lightsabers clashing. I love seeing ideologies clashing, clashes of religions and things like that. That's basically what the Jedi and the Sith are, clashes of religions.
Yes.
But I love that shit. So you can explore that with Ahsoka, whatever Ahsoka and Sabine is doing to find Ezra, or you could do this shit out. I know some people just strictly like the battles. They like seeing the ships and things like that. Like they strictly like they're not they could watch Star Wars without the Force elements in it. You feel me?
And that's where I feel like I can actually like the Mandalorian is because it touches on I used to love Boba Fett before they decided, hey, he's not a Mandalorian, quote unquote. We don't know.
Yeah,
we don't really know, but I love Boba Fett.
They literally
I love Jango Fett.
They literally canonized him as a Mandalorian, and we still don't even know if he's fucking a Mandalorian or not.
Yeah,
like,
yeah, that's where it's like, whoa, what are you guys doing with the lore here? But I love, we get to see the Mandalorian, but we also get to see the Force users. We get to see the underworld side of things, and see how they're doing on other planets. But we still need to know, what is the galaxy, like right now? What, after all these battles and stuff like that, in Battlefront 2, the Operation Cinder just happened. So
see, I don't even know about that yet. I haven't finished. We're not going to go into the Star Wars games tonight. I think the Battlefront games recently are trash, but I heard the story for that was good. I just didn't get a chance to.
Because for me, what pulled me in for that was basically, you get to play as an Empire, person, special forces at most, Yeah. And, we saw...
She was sexy, too. I'm sorry.
We saw in the trailer that, she was basically going to see the end of the Death Star, too, and she was going to have to pick up after that. My greatest fears for that campaign was... hey, she's going to turn to a rebel. And what happened? She turned to a rebel.
Oh, so she did.
She did. And
thanks for spoiling it for me, Sam.
Yeah,
Jesus
it's been
Christ.
Out since 2015.
Yeah,
so get updated. No, I'm kidding.
That shit is trash.
Oh yeah, dude. That's what it is. Dude. I wanted to play as an Empire member. I wanted to be the bad guy for once. I want to be the bad guy.
I mean, let's be real. People fuck with more of the bad guys than the good. Like, literally, Vader is the most recognizable character in Star Wars.
Yeah.
Then next, like, who? Maul?
Yeah.
Like, when a non-Star Wars fan, Boba, yeah. Like, all the villains are literally the fucking coolest characters. Like, to me, Luke Skywalker, like, the name is, what is it? The name is iconic. It's Luke Skywalker.
Yeah.
But, like, I wouldn't, like, people would probably see Mark Hamill and be like, hey, okay.
Yeah.
Like, and that's not a diss to Mark Hamill. Mark Hamill's an amazing actor.
Oh, yeah.
But I'm just saying, like, he's not recognizable. Like, the character of Luke Skywalker isn't recognizable like that to me. Yeah. The name is, but you don't see, like Vader. You're like, when you see a costume of Vader, you're like, oh, that's Vader. You see Boba Fett, that's Boba. Yeah. But it's like, you see Luke, it's like, well, is that Han Solo?
Now
to the non-initiated.
To rest, I think Yoda will be now the face of Star Wars. Because of Baby Yoda.
Everybody's saying Baby Yoda. It's like so many Baby Yoda memes.
And that's what it is. Like,
fuck you, internet.
At this point, I'm about to put up a little survey saying, hey, did you watch The Mandalorian? Because I'm like,
we know some people that like to shit on it and didn't watch a single minute of it, but
and then post a meme on Facebook or Instagram saying, oh, Baby Yoda this, Baby Yoda that. All right, well, you didn't watch The Mandalorian, but we've been here since
OGs, man.
OGs. I love Star Wars.
My first interaction with Star Wars was Episode 3.
Yeah, well, mine was Episode 2.
Episode 2?
Yeah. Well, actually, you know what? Episode 1. I actually watched Episode 1 in theaters.
Oh, shit.
And I was...
See, my family was never into, like, the sci-fi shit like that, except for my uncle. Yeah. But my uncle was more Trekkie. He wasn't really Star Warsy.
Yeah, that's how
he was more of a
was.
Trekkie.
Yeah.
So, like, Literally one day on fucking HBO on Comcast, the old Comcast, like the black square box remotes and
Yep.
shit.
Yeah.
I was flicking through the channels and like literally it was like it started right when Obi-Wan and Anakin went at it, and I just saw lightsabers clashing. I'm like, ooh, this is cool. And then when I got older, like my 8th grade year, freshman year of high school, I believe, that's when I went back and watched the originals because it was like, okay, I guess I'll watch it. And then it's like I watched it and I was in love, man. Like just and I watched it in order, like from episode, what is it, 6? Episode 4 to 6. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I always get
4 to 6, yeah.
confused because they change. If you talk to an original person who watched Star Wars when it first came out, they'll call their original Star Wars, not A New Hope.
Yeah.
They went back and subtitled it later on.
Yeah.
So I know it by A New Hope, but yeah, when I first watched A New Hope, I loved that. I loved it so much, man. Like just the banter between Luke and Han is honestly what got me. And Han, starting out in Star Wars, was my favorite character. But then when I watched Empire, it became Vader, man. Like at that time.
Yeah, well, that's what pulled me into Vader the most, and I was telling you about this yesterday, is that Return of the Jedi, and my favorite Star Wars person ever, like actor or anything like that, is Sam Witwer. His voice acting is amazing. He brought Darth Maul to life. He gave Palpatine a run for his money. I love his Palpatine. It's actually really good.
See, I don't necessarily have a favorite actor because I know a lot of, that's part of being a Star Wars fan is knowing the actors.
Is that, you like the Maul.
But it's like it's always been about the characters for me, like, because like a lot of my favorite characters haven't been put to the big screen yet. Like my favorite Star Wars character is Darth Revan. Like,
oh yeah.
Well, outside of
I put you on that Darth Nihilus train too.
Darth Nihilus is fucking fire. Actually, no, my coworker started me off on Nihilus. My coworker Tim, if you're listening to this, man, thanks for putting me on to Darth Nihilus. He put me on. Then you fully explained his story to me, and I'm like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
But Revan to me is literally the epitome of the battle that people in the Star Wars universe go through in the Force. Like, but even I just want to go deeper into the Force right now. Like to me, I love Star Wars so much because it's like what film is itself. Film is a way of articulating in an artistic way the human condition and what we go through. It touches Star Wars touches a lot on religious things and religion itself, and it's like just that balance. You feel me? Like the universe needs a balance. There's just cosmic force and things like that. Like there's a dark side and a light side, but if you go deeper into the lore, as we said before, George Lucas wasn't a big fan of the expanded material, but when you dive deeper into the Force, you realize what most, and I think that's actually what The Last Jedi was trying to do, is that they're like the Jedi and the Sith, like it's not like the Sith are all bad and the Jedi are all good. The Jedi are bad too because they interpret the Force the wrong way.
Yeah.
Like they interpret the Force as the good without having the bad, when you can't have good without bad and you can't have bad without good. It's a balance.
Yes. Well, I actually started watching this video on YouTube, and it was called The Philosophy of Darth Trey. I don't know, I forget whose YouTube channel that was. I'll shout it out later, and maybe in the comments.
Yeah. Somebody's let us on the comments.
Yes. But basically, it wasn't about how you use the Force or it was about you're basically making a kind of like a movement in the way that people live.
Mm-hmm.
About how you her with her, it wasn't, hey, you're not doing bad, you're not doing good, but as long as you're making a change in people's lives, not like in a good or a bad way. But if it was like, basically you're doing something to affect somebody's life. And it was awesome because the way that, the way that she talked was like, it was almost like she was philosophizing the entire time in the Knights of the Old Republic. And I was just like, man, I was like that it's like a different type of force user almost.
Well, it's about energy. That's what she was talking about.
Yeah,
like,
basically, yeah.
when you put negative energy into something, you're going to get negative energy back. But if you put good energy into something, you're going to get good energy back.
Yep.
And that's you're basically saying, yeah, what I'm saying. Like, that's what I love the most about Star Wars is like that. Basically, like, Star Wars is that battle of, like, it's a representation of the battle we have within ourselves every day, honestly, between the good and the bad. Like,
Yep.
and that's honestly what I love about it so much. Like the battles and everything, I'm there for it, obviously, like that. Oh my God, the Rogue One battle is so fucking tits.
Yeah.
So tits, man. Like, it's just like, oh my God, like the fucking and then you cap it off, it was like, oh my God, with Vader in the hallway and shit.
Oh yeah.
Oh my God, man. Like, Daredevil still has a better hallway scene. But that's besides the point. But Vader's hallway scene, good fucking Lord, man. That was like that. I've never seen that Vader. Like, the Vader they will always talk about, like, oh, this guy, everybody's afraid of this guy. The universe or the galaxy fears him. I've never saw that ruthlessness physically. Like, it was always there mentally, how he would play the mind games with people and shit like that.
Yep.
But you've never seen that physically. Like, I saw Vader decapitate somebody in Rogue One.
Yeah.
Like,
I saw him lift him up onto the ceiling and then cut him in half. You know, it's like, man, where was this Vader? Like, anywhere? Like, we need more Vader. I need more Vader in my life.
and that's what I want to talk about too. I feel like, look, the technology at the time, I excuse the original trilogy because the technology they had at the time, yes, it was groundbreaking, but it's not what we have now.
Yeah.
But they didn't have the technology we have now back then, so I can excuse that. The fact that we can't get action sequences like we get in the fucking the Knights of the Old Republic remake, those trailers they would put out,
yeah,
the cinematics, dude, where the fuck is this in the movies? Like, why can we not see this?
Dude, watching, even that character that was like Han Solo, and he's sitting there in the hallway, dual wielding the blasters and just going
like a
ham
badass
on Sith troopers, dude. I'm sitting there, I'm like, man, where is stuff like this at? We need more of a, what I personally want to see is I want to see the Old Republic for the Sith and the Jedi wars. I want to see, because we've seen the Sith lying low. We've seen the Sith, playing this, diabolical scheme on the background. I want to see the Sith that were, basically warriors. I want to see what we saw in the Clone Wars, but on the other side as well.
Exactly. And it's like, man, it's just like, these are the fiercest warriors in the galaxy, and y'all like portrayed them so badly. Like, even like the episode 3 fight, everybody loves the Anakin Obi-Wan fight. Shit was trash, bro.
Yeah,
they literally looked like they were fucking dancing with each other. I thought they were about to start sucking each other off by the end of the fight. Like,
man.
What are you doing right now? Like, y'all grabbing hands and shit. Like, what are you, the fuck?
There were some parts that were believable. You had the parts where they were actually, it felt like, if I messed up on this lightsaber swing, I'm getting decapitated. But then there was parts where it was like, are you guys literally twirling in the middle of this, like, communications room? You guys literally spun around 3 times.
It's like huh? That's why I do now. My favorite lightsaber fight in the films probably is the throne room fight between Vader and Luke.
Oh yeah,
that's just like amazing, and it's simple.
I still like the Duel of Fates. I like the
Maul, Obi-Wan, and that one was dope too.
Yeah,
but it's like, to me, like, even Clone Wars has had dope action sequences. Like, my favorite action sequence in fucking Clone Wars is hands down Pre Vizsla versus
Maul
versus fucking Maul, bro.
Yeah, dude, it was so awesome because it's like, for a guy who's a Mandalorian, he's holding his own
against Maul, bro. This is a guy that has killed Jedi.
Yes.
Like, and he's holding his own.
Yeah.
Like, and that's going back to the Mandalorian. I think the Darksaber is going to pop up in that.
You think?
I think so.
Yeah.
I think we're going to see Ahsoka.
You think?
I think we're going to see Ahsoka.
Yeah, maybe. Who knows? We might see Sabine Wren.
Yeah, I think it's going to be. I think it's going to be. They're going to have an actress dressed up in Ahsoka dressed up as Ahsoka, but she's not going to talk, and they're going to have Sabine wearing her helmet.
Yeah.
Because that way, if they actually have people talking, that means they are officially casted as that character.
Yes.
And if they want to decide to use them later on, they can.
Well, like I said before, I think Jon Favreau was the voice for the heavy.
The heavy artillery Mandalorian. Yeah.
And because he sounded like Pre Vizsla, and I'm sitting there, I'm like. When I first watched it, I was like, he sounds familiar.
Yeah, I'm like, Sam, that's not Pre Vizsla, bro. He got decapitated.
Yeah,
He's dead.
yeah.
Like, Maul doesn't fake kill people. Like,
so, if they have Sabine wearing her helmet, and, they have a character that looks like Ahsoka, and they cast him, and they have Sabine talk instead of Ahsoka.
Yeah, because they could just use the actress's voice. Yeah.
Yes, and that would work out perfectly fine. Now, another thing I wanted to touch up on is, what do you think Foundlings are? The group that the Mandalorian is in. He's a part of the Foundlings.
Oh, you talking about the Mandalorian sect he's in?
Yes.
I don't know, man.
Because remember, he's donating the best card to the Foundlings. Yeah. Now, do you think...
Because you know more about Mandalorians than I do. I'm not the most in-depth knowledgeable about Mandalorians.
Yeah, well, that's what it is, man. I love... I love the fact when I first saw Boba Fett in his T-shaped helmet and stuff like that. I'm like, dude, that is just a character that I feel like I could get used to, And you don't know too much about him, but for me, it's like I think the Foundlings are actually some sort of kind of orphanage group kind of ordeal, That I feel like what happened after Maul took over Mandalore, or I think what he was doing was in Concord Dawn afterwards, possibly,
Unfortunately we're not going to see.
Yes.
Which they picked up that storyline from Solo.
Yeah.
Which we're probably not going to see unless it's animated or some form of book or comic book or something. But
yes, and I feel like all the Mandalorians that were ravaged by that. Because we don't know what kind of explosion that was that killed, the Mandalorian's parents. We just saw the B, is that the B2 battle droid?
Yeah.
Super battle droid.
So how do they, my question is, how do they feel about the Jedi now? Because they're so back in, they've hated the Jedi, now they like them.
Just like talking about, the currency and stuff like that.
And Rebels is why they like the Jedi, because of Kanan and Ezra.
Yes.
But, yeah, so it's like that is what is really confusing to me is like what is their stance on the Jedi now? And like you even said it, you took it a step further when we were watching the show. What is the galaxy's stance on the Jedi right now?
Yes.
Because like you got to think about it. These like the Mandalorian, like the Jedi are myths to them. Like this is pre-Rey, and even in that case, people really haven't seen Rey like that, and Luke's been gone for 30 years, up at the time point of the Rise of Skywalker or the Last Jedi,
and not even Force Awakens or Last Jedi covered that. We
exactly.
don't like at least in
they didn't even cover the politics. They literally blew up the planets before they got a chance to.
Yeah. and it's like okay, the Empire. People found out the Empire was bad, so we're supposed to assume that the Republic, the New Republic's like, oh yeah, We're all pro Jedi. We're pro Jedi. It's all good. We're not even supposed to cover this topic.
And then even finding out that in the book Bloodline, they found out that Vader was Luke and Leia's father.
Yes.
And that's actually what I'm pretty sure in that book that's what ran her out of office because she was running for I forget exactly what she was running for, but she had to drop out of the race because they exposed her as being Vader's daughter, and then Kylo had to find out like over voice message or whatever, basically like from it's like basically like your mom being very famous and known as this good saint woman, and then like you open a newspaper one day and find out her father was Hitler, like like that's not a good thing.
Yeah, well that's what it is. The Empire worked so hard to tarnish the Jedi's name, putting up posters left and right saying these people are wanted, they're alive still, and these are the ones that we caught and killed. So what do the people of Coruscant, because we haven't even seen Coruscant anymore.
Facts though, yeah.
All these planets that we saw before, I feel like they just keep coming up with new planets all the time. And yeah, I'd love to see these new planets. But when the planets start looking like the other ones, like Felucia was awesome. When I first saw Felucia, I was like, wow, like that is a great idea for a planet. And even playing it in Battlefront 2 is awesome because, you get that feel like, man, this planet is kind of something that I wouldn't want to live in. But when you have planets that look like Tatooine, like Jakku, and the planet that's in the Mandalorian, I don't like to see.
Yeah, that was one thing I had an issue with in the Mandalorian. They didn't name the planets. They were
yeah, and I want to see more planets that are diverse. I want to see more foliage. Kashyyyk was awesome because we got to see the big trees that were like almost like redwood.
Yeah, and it's crazy because I think now that I literally just thought about this. The planet that the Mandalorian was on might actually be Jakku because that would make sense. Like, so Palpatine, that was like basically Jakku is a jumping off point into the unknown regions. And that's where apparently Palpatine had his secret laboratory and shit like that. So if he was to clone Rey, if that's what, happened, then it would make sense that they would ask, the Mandalorian to bring the baby Yoda.
Yes.
Bring him to Jakku.
Yeah.
Because the lab will be there. So what if by the end of the show, the whole thing is to find the lab, and then he goes down there and he just sees like a whole. So what if peep this? You ready for this? Y'all not ready for this shit. What if the end of the show is the Mandalorian going down into this secret lab, and he just sees hundreds of Reys and like the Rey we know, in a fucking test tube or some shit.
That would be pretty crazy.
That would be really cool.
Yeah, I think that would be pretty cool. Now, what do you think? We're going to jump off to another topic. What do you think is the next steps for these episodes of Mandalorian? What do you think is going to happen?
I honestly don't know, man. That's the beautiful part. Like, I know we got Gina Carano's character coming up, which I'm very excited for because Gina Carano's a badass. Like, but it's like, I don't know, man. I'm not even thinking about it. Honestly, with Star Wars now, I just take what I get.
Yes,
if it's
you
good,
take what you get. You can't really expect too much because it's not expect too much. It's like you don't want to, have high hopes for something and then your theory just gets torn down totally.
Exactly.
Because I feel like that's what Rian Johnson was aiming for, was that, hey, everything that you guys were thinking, right out the door.
And
take it home with you.
And I get, subverting expectations. That's something that, should happen in film.
Yes.
But it takes a good filmmaker to know how to do it. And Rian Johnson just did it, in my opinion.
Yeah. It was more like he was turning his back on every single question.
Yeah.
Dipping out of the, dipping away from the cops because he didn't want to tell them like what
exactly.
Rico did.
And that's and that's what it felt like. But honestly, like Star Wars right now, where I'm at with Star Wars, it's like I obviously love Star Wars, but it's like the recent, the shit they've been putting out recently hasn't been catching my attention like that. Like film-wise, at least. Film-wise, I'll say that. So I'm just falling back, until, like the Mandalorian dropped. I'm obviously going to watch that, waiting for the, the Clone Wars revamp to come back. Yeah. And honestly, the thing I'm most excited for from Star Wars is Obi-Wan right now. Like, I was excited for the Benioff and Weiss stuff because I thought they were going to be doing, like, the Old Republic or some form of origin story for the Jedi, like something we haven't seen before. Yeah. But now that they're going, it's like, okay, all right, I'm hyped for Obi-Wan then.
Yeah. Yeah, and Cassian Andor,
I take that back. I'm hyped for Cassian Andor.
Yeah. That honestly...
Literally, if the show...
The thing that hypes me up the most is because of that beginning scene in Rogue One.
I was just about to say that.
He
shot the dude in the back.
Yeah, he just shot the dude. He was like, oh, what are we going to do? What are we going to do?
He said, relax, friend, relax. And boom,
oh, man.
Oh, my God. So I literally want that to be the show, like most of what the show is.
It's like, it's basically, he's like your spy almost, your rebel.
It's kind of like a Jason Bourne-esque type of show it could be.
Yes, so. Who has no remorse for what he's doing. Now he did, get some feelings for Jyn Erso. I actually liked, it was actually what my dad even tells me. He's like, dude, out of all the Star Wars films, Rogue One is my favorite because I started getting into their lives. I felt like I actually started to feel for them, and then they blow up.
But I would fall for Jyn Erso too, bro. Jyn Erso, she a little baddie, bro. She a little baddie. Speaking of which, who the baddest Star Wars female in the galaxy, bro? Who
Carrie
the baddest
Fisher,
one?
Man.
Carrie Fisher, you going with her?
Yeah, young Carrie Fisher, even though
young Carrie Fisher, man. See, I don't know. I might have to go. with Han. I might have to go with Kara, bro.
You read to say Han Solo.
No, I was about to say Han's girl, and then I remembered her name.
Oh yeah, from Solo. Yeah,
Solo,
okay.
she's bad, bro. She's bad, but Felicity Jones up there for me too, but not just in terms of looks though. I mean, that's mostly what it is for Kira. She's still a dope character, but
Oh yeah,
come on, bro, come on.
yeah.
But I would say out of the new movies, my favorite is probably Jen.
Oh yeah.
If we're talking overall Star Wars, period, like I'm just gonna take Legends out of it because it's going. But my favorite female Star Wars character is probably gonna have to be Kanan Jarrus's master.
Oh,
I forgot
yeah.
what her name was, but
I forget. She showed up in the comics.
yeah, she was like, I fucked with her a lot because she wasn't your typical Jedi master. Like she wasn't rambunctious. Like she wasn't like goofy or anything. Like would just do stupid shit. She would just be such a badass that they're like, yo, you gotta chill. Like yo, like because she had literally like would come back from a mission like fucked up and she would have to go in the back to tank for a couple of days. Like that's how she was actually introduced because she was in the back to tank when she was supposed to be training Caleb Doom at that time.
Yeah.
But Kanan, but his name was Caleb at that time.
Yep.
But she was supposed to be training him, and it was like, oh, you're in the back to tank healing because you were out there doing like stupid shit. Like she kind like that's honestly like that's it's. So yeah, she oh my gosh, she was so amazing, and I know it sounds bad that I don't know her name, but it's like just the character itself in those little bit of times had a lot of impact on me.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna have to put Sabine Wren in there too.
Oh yeah. Well, I definitely like Sabine Wren. She I don't know. For her, it's like it was like her trying to figure out herself. At the same time as she knew who she was, she had a path set for her. It's like almost like in real life. You're aiming for a goal. You know what your goal is.
She's the perfect example of betting on yourself, if that makes sense. Like, this is a person who, like, growing up in the Mandalorian culture, you're told what to do. Like, this is what you're going to do. And she decided to take a different route, and that, basically led to her being exiled from her family.
Yep.
So... But yeah, it's so many dope, and I brought up the female characters. Like I obviously brought it up as a joke for like which one looks the best. But the best, I'm bringing this up because again, this is going back to the whole raid thing. When you create dope characters, we'll love them, and that's just what it is, whether they're female or not.
Yeah.
Like you create a dope character, we'll love them. Like that's the how the cookie crumbles. Like
yeah.
So, yeah, so I know we've Star Wars'd you guys out. We're gonna bring this episode to a close.
Yep.
And we'll be back next Sunday, talk some Star Wars, and yeah, we gotta say to the people, Sam, before we sign off.
Hey man, just subscribe, whatever you're on. Yeah. I don't know where we're gonna put this on. What are we putting this on?
It's gonna be somewhere though. Y'all gonna see it.
Yeah, you're gonna have to hear it somewhere. All right,
but
guys.
May the Force be with you.
May the Force be with you.
Peace.
Peace.